Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Aro Ling Cardiff. I'm on my own tonight because Ngakma is away at Drala, and so this evening I'm teaching on the subject of the Lama'i Naljor, particularly the Lama'i Naljor of Ngakma Nor'dzin, which is the practice we do at the end of every one of these Monday meditation sessions. So Lama'i Naljor could be said to be the heart of the teaching of Tantra. Lama refers to the Lama, the teacher, and Naljor means union or yoga. So it is practicing the Lama in effect. Now, what is meant by the Lama in this context can be understood in several ways. There's the physical, external Lama, your teacher, who is the source of inspiration, the source of the teachings, somebody that you aspire to be like. There is also the inner teacher, your own beginningless wisdom mind. And then there is the Yidam, who acts as an interface between the external teacher and the internal teacher. But whichever way you look at it, the purpose of Lama'i Naljor is unification with the realized qualities of the nature of mind. It is usual to engage in this practice through the practice of a yidam rather than with the image of your own physical teacher or teachers. And this is simply because as human beings, our inspiration can be fragile. Our devotion can be fragile. We might see our teachers disagreeing with one another and appearing slightly irritable, or we might see our teacher is ill, or various forms of the teacher that seem to us to present them as less than perfect beings. And it isn't that those factors are there because the teacher is the reflection of beginningless wisdom mind for the student. But nevertheless, these factors can make it difficult for us to always hold the teacher as the pure embodiment of that for us. So to practice with a yidam in terms of Lama'i Naljor is a safety net, you could say. It's a way of ensuring that these human foibles don't get in the way of the purity of the practice. Now, any yidam can be used for the practice of Lama'i Naljor. And as I said, Lama'i Naljor is the heart of tantric practice. So in a sense, all yidam practice is unifying with the Lama. But in this particular practice, this practice that we use so frequently in the Arate lineage, we are using Ngakma Nor'dzin as the focus. Now, Ngakma Nor'dzin was a female practitioner who lived in the 11th century. The dates for her, as is often the case with people who lived a very long time ago, vary depending on where you look them up. But the ones that we usually refer to in our tradition are that she was born in 1055 and she died in 1143. Her name, Ngakma Nor'dzin, means mother, single, teachings, lamp or light. So she is the light that transmits the teachings, the single mother, the yum, the female embodiment of the teachings, the light of the teachings. She was a disciple of Padampa Sangye, who was an Indian Mahasiddha who spent some time in Tibet. And they established the Jije tradition, which is the practice of Chud. And Machig Labdrön was the founder, discoverer of this treasure practice, this practice of cutting attachment to corporeal form, in the sense in which we tend to become fixated on our form as a reference point. So it's cutting our attachment to our physical being as a reference point and being able to let go of that. And Chud is a wrathful practice and is considered one of the 8 major practices of the lineages of Tibet, and has been integrated into all the Vajrayana traditions of Himalayan Buddhism. Now, at that time, India was regarded as the font of all wisdom. Practices usually came from India, and it was unusual for a practice to originate in Tibet. And so pandits were sent from India to check out what was going on. And they thoroughly examined Machig Labdrön. They tried to best her in debate and failed. They examined her teaching. They engaged in the practice and examined how she was as a teacher, and they could find no fault. And they authenticated this teaching as an authentic teaching, and then it was taken back to India. So this is the first teaching that went in the direction of Tibet to India rather than the other way around. Now, this Lama'i Naljor is particularly important to the Aratar for 3 reasons. The first is the Mother Essence lineage, the tradition of a lineage of enlightened women that is the thread of the Aratar lineage. So Machig Labdrön in the Mother Essence lineage is regarded as an incarnation of Yeshe Dzogchen. She then incarnated as Jomo Menmo and then as Gyongchen Aro Ling. So she is the founder of the Aratar lineage in a future incarnation, Machig Labdrön, in that sense. The second important connection is through one of Ngakma Rinpoche's root teachers, Kordong Terchen Shimi Rigzin Rinpoche. He was Khalden Lingpa in a previous life and the teacher of Ashok Pema Lengden, a previous incarnation of Ngakma Rinpoche. But even before that, he was Gyalwa Tundrup, the son of Machig Labdrön. And as a child, he requested a Lama'i Naljor practice that was simple for him to practice as a child. And this is the practice that was given to him. And when Shimi Rigzin Rinpoche gave this practice to Ngakma Rinpoche to be practiced as part of our tradition, he said that he could remember the melody as if it was being sung to him to this day by Machig Labdrön. He could remember her voice. So that is a very potent connection for us. Myself and Ngakma Nor'dzin were very lucky to spend quite a lot of time with Shimi Rigzin Rinpoche, and we had a relationship with him. So this is a very heartwarming thing to know that this is connected to him in that way. And the third reason why this practice is important in the Aratar lineage is because it's the practice of Chud in the Aratar lineage is woven into this Lama'i Naljor. So if you have experience of practicing this Lama'i Naljor, this is a very good basis for the practice of Chud at a later time. But I'm now going to run through the Lama'i Naljor in detail, and I'm going to share my screen for that. There's always so many buttons to press to do this. I think we'll get there in the end. Okay. So this is running through the practice of the Lama'i Naljor of Maciek Ladron. It's a practice that moves through the inner tantras, and it begins with the innermost of the tantras, Hatha Yoga, also known as Dzogchen. So the practice begins with singing the syllable ah together and visualizing the syllable ah. If you know it, this is on your screen, the white Dzogchen ah, that is the essentialized form of Lama'i Naljor. So then the next stage is 3 lines. Om Maciek Mala Solwa Deb, Ah Maciek Mala Solwa Deb, Hum Maciek Mala Solwa Deb. And I've split these into different styles of font to show you the pattern in them. So first there is Om, then there is Ah, then there is Hum. Then there is Maciek Mala. And each of these lines is that we visualize these syllables on Maciek Mala's form. We visualize Maciek Mala in front of us, Maciek Ladron, and we visualize these 3 syllables, Om, Ah, and Hum, on her body. So Om is at her forehead and is white. Ah is at her throat and is red, and Hung is at her heart and is blue. And Solwa Deb means that we are requesting her presence. We are requesting that she reveals her realized nature to us. This is Anu Yoga, this is Maha Yoga at this stage. And so Maciek Ladron is external to us. But there is the sense of unification being possible. And this request is that we are in the state that unification is possible. Then the next 3 lines, again, I've indicated them in different ways. Kapo Omgi Jingi Lob, Mapo Agi Jingi Lob, Nunpo Hungi Jingi Lob. Kapo means white, Mapo means red, Nunpo means blue. Again, we have Om, Ah, and Hung in those 3 colors. Gi is just like a linking word, like of. And then Jingi Lob means empower me, please empower me. So we are requesting that from the Om on Maciek Ladron's forehead, rays of light come to our forehead and we receive transmission of the white Om, and then it appears on our forehead. That the red R at Maciek Ladron's throat transmits rays of light to our throat, and the R syllable appears at our throat. That the blue Hung at Maciek Ladron's heart center transmits blue light, which we receive, and the Hung appears on at our heart center. Then the next stage is the 2 lines, Ku Sung Tugi Jin Chen Po, Ma Yung Chen Gopang Tob Para Shog. And here we are moving from Maha Yoga into Anu Yoga. So Ku Sung Tug, this is the body, speech, and mind of Maciek Ladron. Again, ki is a linking word like of or something like that. And then Jin Chen Po means bestow this blessing. So we're uniting with Magic Labdran. We're experiencing through receiving these colored lights that our body has the qualities of Magic Labdran's qualities, that our body, speech and mind, we realize the enlightened qualities through receiving transmission of Magic Labdran's enlightened qualities. Ma Yungchen means Magic Labdran, the great mother. And Gopang means like the state. The apostrophe is the wrong way around on that. I apologize for that. So we are, and Topara Shog means may I attain, or may it be attained. So we are aspiring to attain the state of Ma Yungchen, of Magic Labdran. And so here we are unified with Magic Labdran. We are acquiring that state of realization through uniting with Magic Labdran. Then we pronounce this wrathful syllable, pet, and we explode the visualization and return to it. So that is why we sing it 3 times. We sing it, we engage in the visualization and receiving transmission, and then we explode it with pet. And we do that 3 times. We then practice either the mantra or sing the syllables of the Lama'i Naljor, Oma Hung, Oma Hung, Oma Hung. Now, in order to sing the mantra, one needs to have received transmission in a formal empowerment ceremony. So our students who have received this will be singing the mantra, while Natpala and I are singing Om Ah Hung, Om Ah Hung. If there is anyone in the audience who we either know hasn't received the transmission of the mantra, or we're not sure whether everybody has received transmission of the mantra. And there are 3 ways that you can relate to singing this. First is that Magic Labdran is external and you receive the 3 lights separately. So the white, then the red, then the blue as you sing the syllables. The second is that you simply receive the 3 lights continually, all at the same time. And the third is that you self-arise as Magic Labdran, so you are the 3 lights. And this would be the experience and the practice if you have received the mantra. As you sing the mantra, you self-arise as Magic Labdran, and you experience yourself as the 3 lights, as the white, red and blue of the Om Ah Hung. Then the candling is blown. Now the candling is connected to the practice of chud, but it is not blown in this context in terms of chud. It is blown to create a bardo, to create a space. And this space is very similar to the practice of the pet at the end of singing the verse, in that it intensifies the experience. It creates greater clarity of the experience. It creates, the sound of the candling is quite otherworldly. It's an unusual sound. And if you enter the dimension of the sound, then the experience of being Magic Labdran can be intensified. We then practice this wrathful, explosive syllable again, pet. And we usually practice it 3 times while the bell and drum are being played. It could be practiced more times. It does not have to be limited to 3 times, but usually in group practice, we will practice it 3 times. And again, the purpose of this is to increase the intensity of the experience, to enter the state of hedawar, shock, amazement, the empty, potent space of experiencing oneself as Machi Labdran. It is the syllable is pronounced to enable you to let go of self and arise as Machi Labdran. So this is the practice of Ati Yoga. This is the practice of Dzogchen. And then the practice is ended once again with the Dzogchen syllable A. We return to the empty space, to the unification with the mind of the Lama through singing the syllable A. And you may have noticed that we sing this syllable at other times outside of the practice of Machi Labdran at these Monday meditations. And whenever this syllable A is sung in that way, it is an essentialized form of Lama'i Naljor. If one can visualize the syllable, one can simply enter the dimension of the experience of the syllable. And in the extended sound of that syllable for the length of a breath, one is unified with the mind of beginningless wisdom mind of the Lama. One is that experience in its essentialized form. Now I'm going to end this explanation of the Lama'i Naljor by reading something from Ngakma Rinpoche's article on Lama'i Naljor on Aro Encyclopedia. So you can go and look at the whole article at another time if you want to do so. It's aroencyclopedia.org and the article is called Lama'i Naljor. If you know how to practice Lama'i Naljor with this white R, then you can do it hundreds of times a day. There's no limit. Lama'i Naljor is not just the recitation of a text. It is the actual sensation or experience of unification with the mind of the teacher. It's this experience of unification that's important, and that doesn't have to take very long. So, to put it simply, it can be having a memory of your teacher. It can be singing Ah and finding the presence of awareness in the envisionment of the white Ah as being the mind of the teacher. That's actually essential. That can be practiced frequently. You can live in the presence of the Lama. You live with that sense of awareness. It permeates your existence. So, the more you can practice it, the better. So that is the practice of Lama'i Naljor, and as I say, it can be practiced with any yidam. So Dojit Sigdun that we sing at the beginning of Monday meditations can be practiced as Lama'i Naljor. You can visualize Guru Rinpoche and receive empowerment and transmission from Guru Rinpoche while you're engaged in that practice. While we're singing Yeshit Sogyal mantra, you can be practicing Lama'i Naljor. Its potential is always there in terms of practice, and is certainly always there in terms of any yidam practice in which you engage. The yidam is the symbolic manifestation of the mind of the Lama with which we unify. And it is this unifying with the mind of the Lama, that enables us to transform our experience of ourselves as ordinary, confused, deluded beings into realized beings, so that our behavior, our demeanor, our activity then becomes in line, becomes congruent with the experience of beginningless wisdom mind of the Lama.